seconded by Councilman Desiree. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 5-0. Tab K, discussion regarding legislative item impacting Florida International University, FIU Wold.
Through the mayor, let me apologize for the title. It is not FIU's road, it's actually the ingress and egress in the city's preserve at the terminus, from the terminus end of 135th Street all the way east to the FIU property. During this legislative session, we were informed that FIU intended to add some language somewhere that would allow for access, some ingress and egress access to the south side of the campus through the preserve to 135th Street. We've tracked the language, and over the last few days, and Councilman Galvin will take this discussion over in a second, but we were tracking the language that was put in there. Specifically, and just read it on the record, a local governmental entity may not prohibit motor vehicle use on or access to an existing transportation facility or transportation corridor as defined in statute 33403. If such facility or corridor is the only point or one of only 2 points of ingress to and egress from a state university as defined in statute 1000.21, regulated by the Board of Governors of the state university system as provided in statute 20.155. That language did pass in House Bill 215 through both houses, the House and Senate, and via conversation, we wanted to bring forth a public discussion on the matter and seek some direction.
My reason, before we open it for public discussion, my reason for asking staff to bring this forward, and thank you, staff, mine's on.
Can't hear you.
Mine is on. If anybody's working the booth in the back, you might want to check our sound levels. I'll talk loud, but all the microphones are on up here. The reason that I asked staff to put this onto this evening's agenda, and thank you for accommodating that, is because I'm very concerned with the processes that Florida International University used to pass this language through the legislature, and what its meaning is for the entirety of Miami-Dade County, really every city in the state of Florida. The language that gives our road to FIU, in my opinion, was introduced by the end of session on 8 separate pieces of legislation. Normally, if somebody wants to pass a law, they find a sponsor at the beginning of session, it goes through committees, there's debate on the floor. Instead, 1 week before the end of the legislative session, FIU got it introduced onto 2 separate bills. In the last 1.5 hours of the session, they got it introduced onto an additional 5. Long story short, there was no opportunity for North Miami to do anything but scramble at the last minute to try to address the procedures that they used to get this language passed. And my belief, and again, this is where I'm looking for the council's direction to give staff the ability to look into this from a legal standpoint. If FIU, can get the legislature to craft very, very specific language to a very, very specific site, what is to stop them from doing that to any other site throughout the state? If they can effectively give themselves permission to go through our preserve to create ingress and egress, what's to stop them from next session taking the land from the youth fair from the county? What's to stop any other entity from taking any other city's ability to govern its own property? The land we're talking about is not state property, it is city property, and FIU has used the state to give themselves very vague, open-ended ingress and egress through our land. I don't see how that's not a violation of our city's ability to govern itself. Certainly, they could have come to us and asked us to open the road if that's what they wanted. Instead, they got, and let me point out, for all 8 legislators that they got to introduce this language, all 8 of them were from North Florida. Our state senator, Daphne Campbell, opposed this move. Our other state senator, Oscar Brannan, opposed this move and voted against it. Our state representative, Roy Hardiman, voted against it. So those that represent this area and understand what it means to the public fought. Unfortunately, FIU had a game. They went to the Northern Florida legislators who don't have to listen to the people in this room, and they pushed language through. So I would ask the council to give staff direction to explore what our legal options are to protect our city's home rule.
No, it's us, it's a discussion. Oh, okay.
I know there are a lot of residents who want to speak on it.
Public
so-
hearing.
Yes.
At public forum, they can address it. I'm a citizen forum.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Galvin, I know we were watching you over the weekend, the passion that you have brought to this discussion, et cetera, but it's a more global problem. The week before that, I attended as the representative of this body to the League of Cities, and that's one of the biggest issue that we are facing is preemption. And yeah, I just came back earlier. I was in DC at the National League of Cities, and that's their problem is preemption. This session alone, the state legislature has put forth an election bill to change election from whenever we want to have it to November or March.
When did they put that?
That was one of the proposals. They also had a bill, besides the election bill, the taxes. They wanted to control how we control taxes, rentals. It's when you have, and it's unfortunate to say this, but when you have the type of folks in office in Tallahassee and in Washington, and I hate to say this, but it is where you do have a lot of Republicans in control. Preemption, for some reason, they want to control local government. And part of the National League of Cities strategy is to let us know that we know the local residents better, and the local residents could deal with us better. I don't know if anybody has ever tried to get in touch with their state rep or coming to one of their meetings is something else, and that's why throughout the entire county and the state. So if we're gonna look at doing something, Mr. Attorney, I needed to, if it could be something that's global, because we have, when this election bill came up, they wanted to change we thought it was passed. It just fell last minute. The same thing with, there was another bill that they were trying, so it's chronic, it's a large pile of things that these folks are doing. We need to be alert. Councilman Galvin, this is just the beginning, so we need to have a strategy if we're gonna go up to Tallahassee to make them know this is not something we're gonna tolerate, but unfortunately, this is their culture, and it's happening at the Washington, gonna send some stuff down to the state as well, and it's gonna impact you guys, and it's healthcare, it's everything. And for some reason, I thought the other party was a party of smaller government, you know, all this and all that, but for some reason now, it's all about they want to control government, and we have to stand up as local government to make sure the state folks understand that we're not gonna sit for this, and this is you, the residents, us up here, policymakers, to go up to Tallahassee, do it days and whichever days, to let them know, because they are coming, they're gonna be able to control what time we are on the street. Local government will not have any, I don't even know why we'll have council meetings, because Tallahassee, unless we change what's up there, they just gonna do whatever they wanna do. And that's a sad state, but that's where we are. And it's ongoing throughout the entire country. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, and let me say, this is not just about Tallahassee or Washington. It's not only about party, because on that issue, we see Republicans and Democrats, they vote together on that. That's when it's not just a party line, it's the both parties that want to control the local government. But in regards to FIU, the bill passed, right?
Yes.
Did the governor sign it already as a law?
No.
The governor hasn't signed it yet.
October 1st.
October 1st, that's the deadline.
No, they'll own it. They can bring their bulldozer.
We can't do it like this, a councilwoman just,
Now, the city manager. Yes.
So, any bill that's transmitted to the governor after session ends, he has 30 days to sign it. After the 30 days, it is enacted automatically.
Okay. That's mean the way it's waiting, right? Even though tomorrow, FIU decided, okay, we want to open the wood and did the survey and everything, they're still going to have to come to us for permit.
Well,
Yes, yes.
I'm glad the manager read read the language into the record, because I'll read it again, at least the first part. The local government entity may not prohibit motor vehicle use on an access to existing transportation facility.
Jim, our mics aren't working real well tonight, I'm sorry.
Sorry. It says that a local government entity may not prohibit motor vehicle use on or access to an existing transportation facility or transportation corridor. Based on the definitions of transportation corridor, that road would be a transportation corridor, but it says we may not prohibit. It doesn't say we have to open it up, it doesn't say we have to give them the land, it doesn't say that tomorrow they get to drive their vehicles through there. So, when we've been talking about lawsuits, it's really not right yet for
No,
us.
nobody said lawsuit.
No, well, I just want to just give you.
No, let's start
so
with
what
that.
happens, in terms of what happens next, this is an enabling statute. It says what we cannot do, that we can't do this. Something has to happen next. Something, I mean, I don't know what that is next, but something has to happen next. FIU has to try to eminent domain the property. Maybe they come and say, hey, we got $2 million to open up your road, but something has to happen next, and at that point, we'll know what their plan is. But right now, this statute, as it's read, doesn't say tomorrow, North Miami turn over your property to the state.
Does that mean we have to wait until FIU make the first move before we can start?
This is a chicken and egg. I thought about it because I knew this question was going to come. So it's kind of a chicken and egg thing, right? So do I follow one?
But understand one thing,
I understand.
the residents,
I
understand,
understand the
no,
question.
let me say what I was saying. But understand one thing, the resident of the city of North Miami doesn't want Tallahassee to dictate what we need to do
Exactly.
with our wood, with our neighborhood. Me, I'm with the community, and whatever we can do to show them that we're not gonna just gonna comply with this simple language on a piece of legislation. We as residents and the governing body of the city of North Miami gonna explore all the avenue in order to prevent them from opening the wood, and we're gonna fight in order to protect the region. I'm with you in that fight, and I'm with Councilman Galvin, and whatever we can do, we gotta show FIU that they're not very welcome, because 2 months ago, they said
Please,
there
please,
was
please, hold your applause. This is the city meeting. Please hold them.
they said
Okay.
they haven't done any survey about that road, they haven't do anything, and now they went to Tallahassee and talked about safety. That's when we do care about safety, but they need to come to us, and we need to sit down and see and what we consider safety for the residents and the students at FIU. That means we need to show them and tell them that we're not happy with that, and we're gonna fight that. And I think that's the expression that, as a governing body of the city, we need to show them that then if they did that today, tomorrow they're gonna do something else.
Yeah.
And I'm with you guys, and I'm with Councilman Galvin on any initiative they wanna take in order to prevent them from opening that road, or if we're gonna open it, it will be a council decision, not just one sitting out there who don't even know where the road is and decided to put that language in order to please FIU, not the citizen of North Miami.
Okay, Councilwoman?
Thank you. Councilman DeSilme, I think you gave a very good explanation, and this legislature is a bad bill. It's a bad bill throughout our state. It doesn't say, the bill doesn't say we're taking 135th Street. We know that's the main reason it's there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've spoken to our attorney, and it's, at what point can we do something? Can this city start a lawsuit and try to get legislature undone? Unfortunately, this little paragraph is attached to a much, much larger bill with all types of things. So we would have to, I guess, go back and amend the bill just to extract that one portion. That being said, and maybe Councilman DeSilme would have a better idea, I think we should also reach out to the League of Cities, who is protecting the cities, and I think we need to use their help to get the rest of the municipalities on board to stop this kind of legislature and to possibly get this particular one undone. I do support you, Councilman Galvin, and I do want to know, you know, as I said to the manager and attorney, I would like to look into it if we have to hire outside counsel to give us an opinion for their case law, et cetera. I don't think we're not right to just jump in and start a lawsuit. We're not there yet. If they were to start doing something and start invoking their rights, absolutely. But I'm absolutely with you, and I think we should look into what our options are and plan for the future and try to undo this and any other legislation they're doing against municipalities. And I'm not in favor of opening the road, so all the people, I grew up there. I grew up there, and I do love it, and think it would be a shame to lose the beauty of that road.
I think at this point, if I may give some a little bit of my opinion on this. FIU, yes, is a major university, as we all know it, and cities usually envy other cities who have close relationship with major universities, and we've been nurturing that relationship with FIU for years. Okay, and we have a first generation scholarships program with them, and we've done many other adventures with them. And I think this is a time where we have to go to the drawing board and engage in that conversation with them. Of course, that conversation has been kind of, but it's never been really addressed at a proper, a formal, venue. So, again, as far as legal, the steps to be taken now, I mean, I'm not an attorney by any means, and because this is not directed toward North Miami, it doesn't say ADC. I mean, this is like throughout the state of Florida, is it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you attack something like this? It's like, I don't know. How do you attack it, Mr. Attorney? I mean, it's like, can you accuse? It's so broad the way that they came up with it. It's like you feel someone is about to rob someone, and then you arrest them or accuse them because they are about to do something that they haven't done yet. I don't know. Within your guidance, Mr. Attorney.
And that's what I'm asking the council, is to give him that permission to look into what our options might be, to see what legal standing this has its implications so that he's able to, have it more learned. This all happened so fast in just a couple hours' time.
So to be clear, I mean, my office, myself, I mean, even today, I sat down and read all the cases on preemption that I could find just to understand where we are. One, what I was about to say is, the caveat is, I probably should not have discussions about what my litigation strategy would be. The discussion that you've had tonight has given me all I need to know on how to do this. I'll come up with a recommendation. I can tell you right now, my recommendation isn't to go file a lawsuit today. I think we're not right. I think like I said, some steps will have to be taken by FIU, and then we'll understand. There are definitely some legal theories. I mean, the obvious one, of course, I think you've all said it, is home rule. That's a constitutional issue. So there are issues, there are things that we can do. I actually, as the manager knows, I went with the Assistant Chief Beige today. I've seen it on maps. I actually took a walk down there today. Thankfully, it was a little cool outside. So I got to see it. It's definitely a beautiful area. It should be preserved. But like, again, we looked at it. The bridge is one vehicle can go down that bridge. So they can't open it tomorrow. Something would have to happen to that bridge to open it up. There's no way for this to happen tomorrow. They can't take it from us. There's other things that would have to happen. Even right now, we look at the rating of the bridge. The bridge would support maybe passenger vehicles, maybe ambulances, but it would never support fire trucks or any large equipment for any type of emergency that they're talking about. So who's going to pay for that? This statute doesn't say that the city's paying for it. It doesn't say that FAU's paying for it. It doesn't give them funding. So there's a lot of issues here. They were very creative in how they got this passed, but the fight has just begun. That's the way I look at it. The fight's just begun. We're not there yet. So I just want everyone to understand. I'm cautioning everybody, I'm bringing everyone back, but when the time comes, your city attorney's office and everyone we hire to deal with this, at your direction, we'll fight this as much as we can. So I want everyone to know that and be assured that we're not going to just take this sitting down.
Mr. Attorney, I want your office to know, like Councilwoman Keys know, there are some already cases going with other municipalities with preemption, with the Miami-Dade League of Cities. Yes, they are against that, and you talked about the home rule. And Councilman Bename, you made something, no, it's absolutely a Republican versus Democrat issue. And when it comes down to it, because even the Republicans, that is, I don't. Huh?
That thing that
No,
we're not
yes.
discussing it for
No.
What I'm saying,
preemption.
Democrats and Republicans vote for that item.
No, this, okay, but this item is bigger, it's part of the bigger discussion when we come,
That's what
when we talk about.
now. We are
No,
discussing the
exactly,
item,
no,
not
but,
political party.
okay, but my point is that this item is bigger, it's part of the preemption of what they are trying to do, and that is why it's so critical, important that we try to, whatever that the League of Cities are doing, we can't do it by ourselves. We can't say we're going up to Tallahassee and fight all of these other folks. Tallahassee is 80% controlled by one party. So if we think that we're gonna go there and say, we're gonna have our way, this and that, that's all I'm saying. The preemptions is argument is something that's happening all over the county. And it's part of this big, well, talking about the devil, the Senator Campbell. Yeah, thank you for your Senator, I don't know, do we have a second just to say about the preemption, what's happening in Tallahassee?
Preemption.
This is
that discussion on the bill. At Citizen Forum and doing your report, you can come up with that. But now it's a discussion on the item.
That's fine, Madam Senator, that's fine, thank you.
If it's Citizen Forum, not preemption.
That's it? Okay, so, this is the discussion item, and after this, we have Citizen Forum.
No, we didn't make any decision.
No, it's just a discussion.
You understand that? Okay.
At this time, Citizen Forum is open for anyone who wishes to speak about any item, anything on the chest.
For those who don't know her, we were just singing her praises a minute ago. Please welcome Senator Daphne Campbell.
And I try to, as much as you can, try to limit your suggestions and comments to 2 minutes so that everyone can have the opportunity to do the same.
This lady was our only friend. She deserved it.
Can you please identify yourself and give your address?
My name is Mila Bukino, and my family, we live in North Miami, and we love the preserve, and we visit it all the time. And I just want to say this lady...
I'm sorry, for the record, we want your specific address, I think, no?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I'll be glad. 2533 Northeast 135th Street. Okay, thank you. First, I just wanted to say something to the gentleman up there. Unfortunately, this bill passed in the House unanimously. All the Democrats voted for FIU and all the Republicans. So that's why when you said, except one, exactly. I just, we're so indebted to you. That she fought and fought and fought. But FIU had so many lobbyists and deep pockets. 15, wow, I'm learning stuff from my senator. But I just wanted to tell you, this isn't just North Miami. People enjoy this. When I go walking through the preserve, you see all kinds of people. You see families and bicyclists, and you're talking. You see people are going fishing and enjoying the nature there, and it is home to many animals. It's on the protected, maybe not endangered species, but the longhorned owl, manatees. You see it all, and there are people that come from many of the cities, and these cities should be involved. I ran into some people that came from Coral Gables, and they were walking there, and I said, "Don't you have preserves?" And they said, "Well, this is special. You got everything here." And we moved there 20 some odd years ago, and that is because I wanted to live in the city of North Miami. I've always preferred the north part of the county. I don't know why. But the thing is, I did not want to live in FIU. This is my road and all my neighbors' road and all of the city's road. And we came here because we wanted to live in North Miami.
Can we give you a few seconds?
I just want to say, we did not want to live in FIU.
This is it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Good evening, Mayor Smith and councilmen and women. My name is Susan Fink, and I'm a SENA board member, which is the Arch Creek East Neighborhood Association. I'm also a retired Miami-Dade County Public Schools teacher. And she made a good case for why we all love the preserve, and I don't need to go over all the things I was going to say about how wonderful it is. But I do live on that street, and I want to make a few points that if FIU is allowed to destroy our preserve, which is what will happen, because they'll have to put a new road through there, right? Not only will there 7,000 plus students using our road, but it also means that ATM School and Mast Academy and David Lawrence K-8 Center will also be using that. The parents and the students will also be using that, and that will just add chaos to our street. We're already having problems with speeders on our block. It'll cause the destruction of our preserve with all the runoff and the car exhaust. It'll create an unsafe and unhealthy street for our bikers and our joggers and our children, and it'll affect our property values on Northeast 135th Street. So if FIU was really concerned about this and having another evacuation road in case of the need of an emergency, they could open up all 4 lanes on 151st Street as an outbound and have local police supervise the exit. That's the solution right there. So I'll just try to keep this short, but I just wanted to say a couple more things. I know I speak for many of the city of North Miami.
I'm sorry,
residents.
I can't allow you more than 2 minutes because then everybody would have to be allowed to do the same thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But we get the message.
Is this on? Good evening. My name is Sam Van Leer. I'm president and founder of Urban Paradise Guild. Our street address is 13400 North Miami Avenue. We have been working in the preserve doing habitat restoration for 5 years this month. We have invested approximately 2,000 volunteer hours in the preserve. Tens of thousands of invasive exotic plants and trees have been removed at zero cost to the city, and now we have funding to do a full restoration of 1.8 acres with external funding as well as support from Commissioner Galvin. This would all be lost if the preserve is turned into a highway, and I do believe that that is their objective. I'm also very concerned about the neighborhood. I work with these people. I know these people. They're good, hardworking citizens, and their property values are at risk. In real estate, everybody knows it's all about location, location, location. Well, the location that makes their property values special is the preserve and their slow, long cul-de-sac that nobody goes into unless they're either visiting a friend or visiting the preserve. So imagine what this is going to be like with the estimated 10,000 population of FIU driving through there. We're talking maybe 5,000 cars a day going each way. It's hard to know exactly, but it's bad. So I recently got city staff to provide a assessed value for the neighborhood, and that is $210 million. Now, if they lose 10% of their property value because of traffic, they're looking at a loss of $21 million. 15% loss, $31.5 million. I think we don't have to extend that. You all understand what this implies. So thank you very much for listening to my concerns.
Gentlemen, my name is Andrew Parrish, and I live at 2515 136th Street. I'm also a board member of the Casa Bella Townhomes. There's another board member here, Tatiana Chavez. And we, the Homeowners Association, obviously opposes this legislation. I am an attorney, but I don't do real estate law, so I will tell you, Councilwoman Keys said something about whether a part of the law is found to be unconstitutional, and the whole law doesn't have to be voided. It can just be that portion of it could be voided. But this is, I looked in this a little bit in the last week that this came up, and this is just outrageous. It's an affront to the five of you. I mean, these people, President Rosenberg has showed nothing but absolute contempt for the city of North Miami and each one of you. I mean, it's just absolutely outrageous. Now, because of its particular environmental standard and whatever, endangered species that are there are a lot of avenues to challenge this. So I'm sure the city attorney and outside counsel will pursue all those. But if you need additional co-plaintiffs in the case, certainly I'll go to our board and our ownership and see if they're willing to for a standing issue, if they're willing to lend their support to this. But it's just absolutely outrageous. And as I found out through another attorney friend of mine, that FIU also was doing this there's a park out where FIU is out the Tamiami Trail, and there's some property adjacent to them, and they've tried something similar, a land grab. So this is not unusual for them to do, and it isn't necessarily just happening to us. But in any event, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Marcella Rucas. I live at 2370 Northeast 135th Street. I listened to what the city attorney had to say, and this is specifically addressed to the city attorney. There are cases out there that have to do with citizens' initiatives. There's also a federal case that's involving standing for citizens to bring standing as far as enjoying the area. So I'd like to know what will be done on your part, because I think that there needs to be injunctive relief. And when I say that, I mean, once the governor decides to go ahead and sign this, then why not have injunctive relief so that just to protect this issue, before they start building, because as soon as the governor grants, you know, the okay and signs off on the bill, guess what? I'm sure they're gonna break ground. So I'd like to know what's gonna be done as far as injunctive relief now, or rather when it's signed.
It's citizens forum, that's, just take notes.
It's just food for thought,
Yeah.
and I'd love to hear from, you know, anyone else. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, I'm born in area 611351, Miami, Florida 33261. And I'm one of the former FIU students. But I want to show my agreement to Councilman Galvin and Bien-Aimé, because we vote to put the people in Tallahassee. We vote to put you in the office. We cannot let Tallahassee take care of our business in the city, because we are in a free country. Some issues the federal government take care of. Some of them the state government take care of. But some of them, you have the power. The same people vote for them and vote for you too. You have to take care of what the city needs. I don't know, I'm not against no to four, but I don't know what is better for us to open it or not. But you take care of it, because we put you in the office to do what the city needs. And the second thing, I want to thank you and congratulate you for the decision you made to put Chief Joiga as the Chief of Police, Miami Chief Police, because, and not because only he deserves it, but it is for the benefit of the whole city of North Miami. Thanks again.
Hi, Frida Betts, 1975 Northeast 135th Street. I'm not only a native of Miami, I was born here in this county. I have been here for 30 years in the city of Miami. I was born in North Miami Beach, but I've chosen to reside in this city. This road doesn't, what's going on doesn't affect me as much as it affects the majority of people near the preserve, because I'm like 2 blocks away from Biscayne. But being 2 blocks away from Biscayne, I can tell you that the congestion that we already have is so dangerous. Within a 6-week span, we had a 3-car accident, a 2-car accident. We had a police officer that was rear-ended in North Miami, just sitting in the left-hand turning lane. This morning alone, when I was leaving, I head to South Beach a couple days a week. As I was turning, I noticed about a half-dozen bicycles coming around the corner. It is frequently visited by people who don't even live in our neighborhood. They come in on bicycles, they bring their families, they enjoy the preserve. It is just such an amazing area. I mean, I've been there for 30 years and I've chose to retire in North Miami. My friends, I went to NMB, I went to JFK, I went to Bailey Hives. They all look at me and tell me when I leave to take the flag with me, because nobody else is here. All of my colleagues that I went to school with, they're gone, they left. They don't want to be here. I will not leave North Miami, and I will not sit for FIU trying to tell us what we can do with our futures. So I truly believe that I commend all of you for what you've said this evening. I am so heartened by the support you're giving us. I totally respect all of you. And I'm a massage therapist. If any of you ever need a massage, you tell me it's on the house. Go for the FIU's
In the back, yes. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Councillors. My name is Craig Jarrett from 13507 Northeast 24th Place. While the legislator, what they've put in doesn't particularly pertain to opening the road, it's about having access, which they already have access. It doesn't say that it has to be access for particular vehicles. But with that, there's going to be an application for sure for other developments like the hotel and further private partnerships on FIU. My company actually has a partnership with FIU. And that's something, if you look at the plans for the future of FIU, it's all about the private partnerships. and lots of funding. Now, one of the fundings is the Frost Science Museum, and they actually attracted funding of $1.7 million privately last week. And one of those donations was on the premise of habitat restoration. So one of the plans is to put the wildlife center on the nature reserve, which doesn't make any sense really, to destroy the habitat to put it. Now they've already attracted a lot of funding for that, so it's kind of like the attorney said, what's going to come first, the chicken or the egg? But I just ask that the council views any future applications from FIU for further development with in mind that the road will probably come either with or after. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Corey Waldman, live longtime resident North Miami, 2450 Northeast 135th Street. I'm also the president of the Arch Creek East Neighborhood Association, and I certainly use the preserve every day to walk with my dogs. Just want to bring a couple of points. Number one, regarding the FIU situation. This is the preserve, obviously we all want to keep, that's our number one priority, but for the whole street, this only makes sense for FIU to make it a 4-lane highway from 135th Street all the way to the preserve. To keep it 2 lanes would not make any sense whatsoever, so we're talking about a highway on our street. As far as the values of all the residents who live there, we're talking about a major hit to all of our property values without question. And the third thing I'd like to say is, I actually spoke to an FIU trustee earlier this week. I met him through a mutual friend, and one of his complaints to me is the city has never wanted to negotiate with FIU regarding the entrance. Now, their idea of negotiation is how many hours will the preserve be open. He suggested to me, we've never discussed maybe opening it from 7 until 7 and no weekends. That's a given that they're plowing over the preserve and doing what they want to do anyway. So I actually have an email way back in my email blast list from Councilman Galvin saying where he walked with them in 2014 and showed them all of the different possibilities of what could open FIU. At the end of the day, FIU wants 135th Street, end of story. They will not consider any other avenue. 135th Street is their path of least resistance. That's what they want. Their idea of negotiation is the number of hours that this road will be open, not that we don't want it open at all. So thank you for your support, and thank you very much.
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. I think you know that I'm very much a supporter of having as much transparency and as much information brought to the council as possible, issues large and small from nearby and from far beyond. And I'm kind of happy that today this was added to the agenda. But I would like to raise the point that just a few weeks ago, I believe it was Councilman Galvin, they made an issue of something that both the mayor and the city manager had approved for adding to the agenda. Something quite innocuous, but also very important to many. So I'm not too sure how exactly this has entered into the agenda, but I'm glad it has. I hope in the future, Councilman Galvin, you will not prevent other items from coming forward that are important. Nobody raised that, though. Seems like we are, this is a little bit of a deja vu moment, at least for me. I remember being up here and voicing concern about, the handling of the contaminated fill, about the handling of selling off the 50, 60 acres, about the handling of Mocha Museum. And in each case, I sort of gave warning, seeing this on the horizon, saying we really need to give this greater attention so that it doesn't fall apart. And in each case, we got the worst of results. In this case, you can sort of see it coming. I hope that the citizens and the city are able to get what they are seeking and to prevent the circulation from going through there. But at the same time, I call on the city to please be prepared that there may be a fallback position. This may be the worst of outcomes, and unless you prepare for other covenants on the property, restrictions on the traffic, timelines, gateways, things like that, it will be the worst of results. So, and we have other things, like the train station may wind up running the same way. We get much less than what we're expecting. But please pay attention to this. Please have a fallback position, and we wish you the best.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bay Shore Drive, North Miami, Florida, 33181. My dad said how you deal with a bully is stop being a wimp. FIU has thought of us as wimps. Scott, I'm glad you went to the Joe Wall School of Law. And Alex, I don't know if you ever went there, but you sounded like him. Okay. We need to look at litigation against FIU, because they're going to go and they're going to push this to the maximum. We need to be realistic here. This is a violation of home rule charter. And this is a test case. Alex, you're right. This is a test case. If they get this, then they're going to go after other cities. We need to get Sunny Isles, Bay Harbor Island, Bay Harbor, North Miami Beach to join us, along with the League of Cities, Carol, to go into a lawsuit and to share the expenses.
Timmy Each, 776 Northeast 125th Street. I'm your former police chief from 20-something years ago. And when I heard this nonsense about FIU wanting to open up 135th Street because of the incident at Parkland, I found it absolutely preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. Sir, I fought a war, been wounded several times. I know tactics, I know strategy. I don't get my nose involved in the police department anymore, I'm retired. But to say that we can open up 135th Street for student security is absolutely preposterous. If I have the tactical advantage, I want to keep 135th Street closed. I want to send my officers up to 151st Street. My response team through 135th Street if I can get them through there. I don't need oncoming traffic coming up. That nonsense that they pulled was an absolute insult to the city. You know, they say the ends justify the means. Well, you know what? FIU's been trying to open up 135th Street for the last 20 years. And I find it absolutely insulting to the city council, to the citizens of the city, and to the students of FIU. What are we teaching our future students? Are you going to use the means to justify the ends? Is this decency? Is this what we're talking about, transparent democracy? Or are we going to twist the legislature to say, hey, Parkland had this and we want to do that? It's a lot of nonsense. You know what? Keep 135th Street closed from 100 tactical viewpoints. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm here. I'm Dr. Medina, the Fatwatson Northeast 124th Street. I'm here to support my fellow citizens from 135th. My suggestion will be to attack, not to wait. You need to attack and negotiate from a position of strength. I mean, wait. I mean, you already have a bloody nose. I mean, what else you need? So.
Hi, my name is John Famey. I live at 2539 135th Street. I grew up in Keystone Point. I moved back 2 years ago because of the reserve. I got work through there. I know it intimately. I work with Sam. I find that, you know, we're fighting about keeping FIU out of it. But I think North Miami has also dropped the ball on what goes on back here, from garbage cans. When I paddleboard through there, I find bags that people pick up their dog waste with thrown into the water as I'm paddleboarding through the reserve. It's kind of sad. I just think North Miami needs to pay more attention to that area. And even if they build that road, say they put high-rises that are worth millions of dollars back there, and it increases my value, I don't think it's worth it. I keep my value where it's at, just to keep the road shut. I think it's a beautiful place to be. I used to get chased out of there by the police when I was a kid, in a Rama. They were biking through there, and you know, just fight the good fight and pay more attention to the area, because it is a gem. There's nothing like it around there. looking at it, it looks like there's more residents on that road than anywhere else in North Miami with the big buildings. I think we need to just join forces and look at it as something that we cherish as a city. Thank you.
Citizens Forum is still open, but I see no one coming, so Citizens Forum is now closed. We go to the next item, which is council reports. Whoever wants to report first.